Hello and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, so of course that means we're playing Valley by Night, River City, or Vampire 5th Edition actual play. I'll be your storyteller for the evening, Jason, and with me as usual will be Rappy playing Iola, Duba playing Walter, Sarah playing Emma, Eric playing Kyle, and Jeremy playing Egidio. Alright, who remembers what happened last time?
Let's hear it from Rappy's point of view. See what they thought of the events from last week.
Yeah.
Because I was definitely here last week. I wasn't working overnight.
Not at all.
Not at all.
We successfully ran away from the hordes of Camarilla.
It was hardly hordes. It was like
I say it was like 5 or 6 guys.
dudes. Maybe 8, I forget. It was the third, fourth
All
motorcycles.
sounds kind of blend together.
Those were like the beginning stages of a horde.
But yeah, they came zipping across on motorcycles. I think Kyle ran over a couple of them with his truck. Emma took your captive and got away.
And then had him killed after questioning.
You know,
All I know is Iola was given a gun.
war is hell and all that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because then you were out. It was like, well, I guess Emma won't get her gun back for a while.
Yeah, Emma's getting her
And
gun
then-
back.
And then we were all off today.
Yep. But yes, the fight got broken up by police sirens. Nobody
As
quite
all
wanted that
fights
level
do.
of masquerade breach. Though at least one old man saw enough of the fight to have for sure seen something unnatural going on.
He's an old guy. He could be just hallucinating. We don't know.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure he's just crazy.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sure his story won't get back to the NSA or anything.
Totally not.
Just a random net case.
Clearly, it was a weather balloon and swamp gas and looked directly into the slate, please.
Please look directly into this woman's eyes. She's got 3 of them. Just look into the eyes.
Pick one, look into it.
Any two are fine.
Just do forgetful mind, rewrite their entire story. Make them just be the crazy person the entire time. It's fine.
But let's see. After the fight, you'd found out that they were the 2 thin bloods that you'd been investigating. They were here to both plant bombs and plant C4 in a couple of locations to draw like police attention to you. Kyle managed to find the one at his bar. And watching the video, I believe y'all figured out Zeke had been well, you suspect Zeke had been
Dominated. Yeah.
Kyle's going to take that personally, very personally.
Yeah.
Proceeded to track that guy back into Cam territory and very politely knock on his door.
Yes.
Knock on our door.
Then knock down his door. And then running down in the apartment parking lot like a dog.
Yeah,
Gangrel,
pretty
it's
much,
fine.
yeah. It tracks, yeah, Gangrel.
Luckily, this was, close to dawn. Not too many people were up.
Left his body out for the sun.
Drug it into a church parking lot, I believe.
Yep.
Very sacrilegious. I'm here for it.
Well, it was a wide open space without anything else up get on fire. It was a safety thing.
If it was sacrilegious, it wasn't purposefully sacrilegious.
Nah, this just happened to be the closest place he could drag him to.
Mhm.
Kyle, the character, doesn't care. Eric, the player, being a guy who goes to church all the time.
I had
Not
to
on
think about that
purpose.
one for a sec.
No, not on purpose.
Right.
I don't think I've ever been to that church. Been in the parking lot though. I'm mowing adjacent. Me and Dad mow some property adjacent to him, which is what made me think of them being there.
Fair enough.
Uh,
So, quick question. What did we say Zeke's last name was again?
Did we
we
have a
think
last
of
name for Zeke?
I was about to say, do we have a
I
name?
don't know.
Oh.
That's why I'm asking.
something with a
No,
B, maybe. Co-manager Ezekiel. Yeah, it's definitely something with a B.
I forgot the name.
I didn't write it down.
There's a D at the, or just a B something something D, either DG or DS. Bonds? It may have been Bonds.
It is now.
Sure.
Yeah, my handwriting's terrible. So even when I take notes, they don't do me much good.
I was asking because the one touchstone that I had been using from was sort of like whereas Kyle has been reacting to people messing with Ezekiel as if it was a touchstone, so I'm just making him touchstone number 2
Oh,
as
that makes
opposed
sense.
to the hacker guy. And it still kind of fits with his conviction because Ezekiel very much resembles their actions will tell what they are. Because he was like, "Yo, your friends, they'd be up to some stuff. I don't care what they say, they're up to some stuff." So it still fits.
Let's see. So yeah, Kyle killing that guy was the last something that went on. And yes, there was some questioning of the thin blood. And then Emma left him to the tender mercies of the Bruja to deal with.
As a treat.
Tender mercy.
They're part of the security brute squad. As far as she's concerned, it's kind of their job.
Yeah, they seem to think it was. But
She unintentionally got respect for it.
The Grand Theft Auto Respect Plus.
well, if they thought you didn't have the backbone for the job, you've been over the past few weeks convincing them otherwise. But yeah, that was getting towards dawn. After that, everybody pretty much retired to their havens. So give me that rouse check as y'all wake up the next night.
Still good, baby.
Hungry.
Hungry.
We'll go eating.
Ditto.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Does hunger regen after killing somebody? Is it something that'll automatically regen to 1 the following night, or is it one of
No,
those?
you still just roll like normal.
Okay, just making sure there's nothing fancy with that.
Yeah, you stay at normal. You stay at 0 until you fail a rouse check.
Cool.
Which is how Kyle stayed at 0 for so long. Because he had drained somebody, and then I just got lucky with rouse checks.
Then just rouse checked 5 times in a row.
Can't hear a word you guys are saying.
Also, I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit here, and I'm gonna make 3 rouse checks.
Oh boy.
Well, 1 to wake up, 2 to heal.
Okay.
Have a salubri.
I'm gonna hunt first, and then I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so I definitely need to hunt now.
What do you
Well,
ask?
4.
What'd you get to 4?
I
failed 2 rouse
checks.
checks.
Oh my god, sir.
I was at 2. I failed 2. So my wake up, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm good. And I tried to heal. I was like, I'm hungry now. So
I guess we're all gonna go hunting today.
No, Emma's gonna go take Shiloh for a walk. because she still has Shiloh.
She does.
I got 3 successes on my hunt.
I got so excited when I saw the green come up. So, you know, you'd roll a 10 on your hunger dice. But it's the only 10 you rolled, so.
Mm.
Ooh.
No, see, all the messy criticals are usually me, which considering how
mean,
many hunger
I
dice
don't
I'm
know.
operating with right now.
There's been a few spread around.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Emma whacked
mean,
the guy
when you
that
hit-
Got 6 successes. 3 10s, all in normal successes.
Oh, very nice.
I mean, when you hit buckshot like that with like the 20 dice you roll, of course you're gonna hit hunger dice.
Mhm. I absolutely lean into it too, because
Uh-huh.
it's how it be. I love the thing. Will the Barons have a chance to retaliate? What do you mean have a chance to? Kyle already did.
All right, so let's see. How many successes was it that you needed, Gio?
I think it went back to normal, so I forget if it was 4
Did
or
it?
3. It went down because we did that like ad campaign.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
the-
make it a little easier.
We also still had that difficulty 1 because of COVID.
Yeah, but it
We-
had been up to 4 at one point. I think it dropped back down.
Well, it's
Mhm.
originally 5 because the standard is 6. It dropped down to 5 because of where we're at, because we're in a well-to-do area.
Mhm.
It got dropped down, so it went back up and then dropped back down again. So I want to say it's 4 or
Also
5.
a donator to the blood bank, though.
I can
I'm
go
trying
in
to
and steal.
remember.
Like I can go in and steal my own blood bags if it gets to it.
Yeah.
Fair point.
All
Just want to have them, what is it, DoorDash to you instead.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to.
We will say, all right. So with 3 successes, we'll say your contact is able to get you a bag.
That'll work.
Where if you get the 4 successes, he can get you 2.
That'll be enough to get a sippy, and not not our Salubri like lunch.
She appreciates this.
Iola, on the other hand, has no problems. She pops up. She checks her tarot card. Do you have your tarot deck handy?
Yes, actually, I do. It's got it. Here.
Me spending a willpower to suppress this critical. Because my dice are like, yo, you want a messy critical this hunt, right?
With the 8 of Pentacles.
Okay, that's better.
Commitment, hard work, dedication, care, and investment.
Upright or reversed?
Upright.
All right. Let's see. Sounds like something encouraging you to hard work
Yeah.
and high standards. All right, so where would Iola go to hunt? You know, at one time the mall, but it's kind of shut down at the moment.
Yeah, some back alley. Close to the Waffle House of sorts.
There's
Waffle
several
House never
restaurants over there, and and some of the restaurants are still open.
Yeah.
And you tend to go after people in heightened emotional states.
Mm-hmm.
You know, upset or even or depressed or whatever. Let's see. So you get over there to one of the not the Waffle House, but maybe one of the sit down restaurants.
Like Red Lobster or something
There's
like
a red.
that.
I say there's a red lobster up there. Now I think about it. Well, I say think about it now that I roll the map up and look at it. So you're just sort of, you spend 30, 40 minutes scoping out the people coming in and out. You see a couple, there's a couple that have a little argument. Then they get in separate cars. One of them drives off. The lady is just sitting there kind of upset. She's in her car, but she's just upset, hasn't pulled out yet. So you're able to slip up, knock on the window. Ask her if she's okay, get a conversation, and then at an appropriate moment, you give her the old mental whammy, and then how much are you taking from her?
2 slakes worth.
Okay, so you leave her unharmed, just a little dazed.
Yeah.
All right, what's the GTO? Emma didn't get hungrier. All right, Kyle, you said you were hunting?
Yes, I did have to use willpower to suppress a messy critical. So it's 4 successes.
Okay.
Using his bloodhound, he's going to be looking for someone with a melancholic resonance. Specifically, well, he's going to look for someone who looks like they just lost a physical altercation. Is all like about it.
Somebody looks a little beat up. Okay.
Because he's hungry, so at minimum he's going to be draining 3, so that's going to cause damage. So he doesn't want it to look unnatural that this guy's been hurt for whatever reason, because it would look like he got hurt by the fight, not anything Kyle's about to do. Though, if there's the Desarius, then he gonna slurp him up like a juice pack.
Alright, so what'd you roll?
Well, I rolled 4 successes.
Okay, so you're definitely able to find somebody.
Nope, we're good.
Okay. So temperament is a 6, so that's just fleeting.
Okay.
So yeah, he's gonna slake 3 hunger off him.
Okay. Well, that definitely does him some hurt.
Yeah. Which is why he was looking for someone who looks like they were beaten up.
Mm-hmm. And you find somebody that's like he's been in a fight.
So them being kind of woozy doesn't look unnatural.
Right. Yeah, you basically leave him unconscious, and if somebody finds him, they'll find him looking beat up. So
Mm-hmm.
And if he wakes up on his own, hopefully he'll just assume that was a worse whooping than he thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Walter,
Hi, sir.
were you hunting?
I probably should.
Well, what's your hunger at?
3.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find.
Not with what I have to do here later, so a little bit of help will go a long way. Let's see.
Now you're a Sandman, so hunting early like this.
Oh no, he wouldn't be going like immediately first thing.
Oh, okay.
He's probably gonna probably be waiting a while.
Wait till some folks have gone to bed.
Running my hospice, this is Katie.
Yeah.
Hi.
Basically.
Okay.
Though he will send a text to Emma.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he's going to send a few emojis, basically showing the sick emoji and hospital symbol, and just be like, when you can.
I'm just taking Shiloh for a walk, so whenever you're available, hit me up.
He's like, okay, I'll
Okay.
swing by the office in, here in a little while.
Just puts on there, I'll meet you there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else am I hearing?
I believe that's coming over Dickens line.
Ah,
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, while everybody else is hunting, Emma walks Shiloh over to the office. Walter, you can meet her up there. Meet up with her there.
Woohoo!
Let me double check what I got to roll on these, and it's free if I don't have to do a rouse check if we just take a scene to do it. Which, considering everyone else is hunting, that would be plenty of time.
Does aggravated make it harder?
Let me link it.
yeah, it's 3 successes per aggravated, I believe.
Let's see.
Every 3 successes in the margin.
Hmm.
If the vampire spends an entire scene, reduce the difficulty to 0. So it would take away the difficulty 2 and just.
So you said,
whatever,
you'd have to roll the
3.
die, so you'd have to have.
Yeah.
It's just every 3 successes would heal then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And intelligence, fortitude. I'm gonna buff fortitude, or not fortitude, intelligence.
Okay.
Do not get hungrier. So that gives me 7, 8, 9 dice. Six, because I had a crit in there.
All right. Well, that's 2 aggravated you can get back, Walter.
I do believe that would be all the track I needed. Because I think I only had 2 aggravated out of my 6 health.
Okay.
How much superficial did you take before that?
I honestly don't remember. Because
I know you took some, and then you got that 2 aggravated from the bite.
But they
I
did
don't-
rouse to heal last time.
Yeah. But
Hmm, okay.
at least they'll take care of the aggravated damage.
Yeah, and you could try to heal the superficial after a snack.
That's the plan.
All right. So y'all are at the office. Emma, you had a phone call.
Does she recognize the phone number?
Yes, it belongs to the emissary that you have from Stafford, or well, that works for Stafford.
Oh, the Nos Camarilla.
Correct. Yeah, he was
She
the
will
Nos
pick it up.
Primogen. Well, I guess still is, according to the cam.
As far as we know, yeah.
Hello, Miss Emma.
Yes.
Just calling to arrange a meeting later tonight if possible, or sometime soon, whenever it's convenient for you.
I'm guessing it's in regards to the little incident that occurred last night.
The timing of it is related to that. Mr. Stafford has an offer he would like to make. And offers his assurances he was not involved directly with the incident.
I will call you back shortly once I have spoken to the other barons and we can arrange a meeting place for this to happen.
Of course. Just let me know. I'll be available whenever you're ready.
Of course, I will contact you shortly.
Oh, very good then. Until then, ma'am.
Until then, and hangs up. And just sends out a general text of, hey, when you guys get a chance, swing on by. Actually, she follows it up with a, actually, give me, how far away is the house that she stowed the hand in? Ada's safe house / lab. Like, could she drive over there in like 15 minutes?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. It's probably a mile, maybe 2 as the crow flies, and a few more,
Okay.
having to weave around the streets.
Yeah. I think she actually left her vehicle there too, because it was beat up.
Was it? I know Kyle's truck got messed up.
I think it took a couple shots.
It may have. I know somebody was shooting in your general direction at the very least.
Yeah, either way, I think she left it there, but she's gonna be like, actually, give me about 20 minutes. I gotta go pick up something that I left over at a friend's house last night, and she'll go pick up the hand and the car.
Is it in like a Ziploc bag? Or...
No, it was in one of those like foam coolers on ice.
Oh,
and,
that's
put it
right.
in the freezer.
Because Ada just happened to have one on hand that seemed a little stained on the
Yeah,
inside.
it was.
I'll send a message and be like, I have preservatives for that recipe if you're looking for them.
I may take you up on that, but it may be taken off of our hands quicker than I need it. Followed by the gif of the monkey doing a rim shot.
the Mr. Bean, if you know what I mean.
And then she'll do that and then just come back to the office. She will stop and get Shiloh chicken nuggets and a pup cup.
He is pleased.
Ejid is already at the office after getting his one little snacky. It's like very casually, feet on the desk, and just like leaned back on a chair in an office chair.
If Iola hits the office after her hunt, she's probably getting there about the time that Emma's getting back with her little memento.
Yeah, probably.
Just a packed lunch.
Yep.
Kyle is probably the last one to get there.
Emma will
doing
slap.
Kyle things.
Emma will slap Egidio's feet off the desk.
Yes.
Please, just not on the desk.
Oh, you should invest in ottomans.
You can put your feet up on things in your own house.
Fine.
I'll get an ottoman next week.
Thank you.
Shiloh chicken nuggets until Kyle shows up and then hides the chicken nuggets.
Vito's eating a chicken nugget by the time Kyle gets there.
Would he though?
He'd vomit it up immediately.
Yep.
For science, he's like, let me try this.
Why is the dog eating this?
It's fine while I'm chewing on it, but the moment I swallow it.
Yep. Just, it's that thing of like, just having the taste in your mouth without swallowing it and just going somewhere else.
See, now I'm picturing kindred that do that like people chewing tobacco.
Yes.
So
very,
if
very similar.
Kindred could have lollipops and like Jolly Ranchers and stuff like that, then technically,
Stuff that
right?
dissolve.
Yeah, Pop Rocks.
Oh,
Well, I don't know because they have trouble drinking stuff too. So even if it dissolves and it's basically a liquid when it's their stomach.
White Wolf, we need answers. World of Darkness, please.
They were never big on giving those kind of answers. They were always kind of
Vancouver
like,
by
figure it out
night. I
yourself.
know you're here. I know you're in the chat.
Somewhere.
Need these answers.
You're the closest to White Wolf we have.
And what happens if a vampire is riding a motorcycle and accidentally swallows a bug?
Would it be considered like not omnivore, the intestine one? The one where they eat like meat and stuff?
The Venus flytrap?
No, there's a certain feeding, I think it's flaw that they have to feed on like
Oh.
intestine meat and stuff.
I know what you're
Organs
talking
or
about.
raw meat
Oh.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orgivore, Organvore or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Organivore, I believe.
Yeah.
I forget
Yeah,
which one of
what
those.
you're
I
talking
think you used to
about.
have one of the old bloodlines that were like that.
Yeah.
The Cheetos descended from them.
Was it the zombie looking
Sort of.
guys?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so everybody
One of the
gets
clients
there.
they kinda went into.
Kincaid swings by fairly early.
Tangent.
He's got all of his people out in force. Keeping a close eye. There's some movement over at the hospital. I mean, there's always some movement over at the hospital.
Burbs real quick. Phone call.
Okay.
She's like, Stafford's 1 a.m. meeting. The Nosferatu Primogen.
This is about the party last night.
The emissary firm assures me that he was not part of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. I have a hard time believing that, but be that as it may.
We can use them as an in for the rest of the cam if we want to know them better for any reason.
At least know what their face looks like, in case we need to.
Rip it off
Oh,
of
no.
their neck.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, possibly, but do we want to have the meeting here, like on this side of the belt line, or? Like, what's the protocol for that? Do we have to let the other barons know that they're going to be coming over, or since it's our domain?
Don't believe we necessarily have to let them know since it is our domain.
In saying that, there is a common courtesy to your neighbors who have
Yeah.
so graciously stuck their neck out for us a few times at this point.
And we would, of course, share the information gleaned at this meeting potentially.
And we're also only, and he checks his phone, like 20 hours at best removed from last night.
If
The
even
wound's still
that.
kind of sore.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's over at Kincaid. Anything else happen in regards to last night? Have we heard anything? Any
No,
other
we didn't get
attacks
any
that may have occurred?
We didn't get any sign of incursions anywhere else. Now, I haven't called around to anybody in the rest of the city to know if anything else was going on.
You could put out any feelers, see if anyone else had anything happen. And I know we didn't hear any explosions, but that didn't mean other stuff hasn't occurred.
Yeah, I found the ones they put in the bar.
Pretty sure we found the ones that were in the mall.
Hmm.
They did actually find them, right?
Yeah, I think they did, because Woodard
Yes,
said
'cause
something
our-
about having somewhere to put it.
Yes, that
Yeah.
I remember that conversation.
Yes.
Yep. So yeah, found the
Yeah,
ones.
because
in the
somebody
mall.
walked over the door and handed it to one of the police, or one of the security, one of Woodard's security people, who then carried it back, stuck it somewhere. She was going to have Ada investigate to see if that person was under mental control or if she had a traitor.
Long
Have
game,
we
rusty.
heard anything about the other Duskborn?
But the one that died?
No, the one's partner. The one that was leaving the explosives at the bar in the mall.
Right, the one that died.
In character, we don't know he's dead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The one you...
The one that Emma had executed.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
the one that
he's
Emma
dead.
had killed.
But his partner, only Kyle knows about.
I see. Okay, I had my wires crossed there for a sec then. I was like,
Oh, good.
yeah, Emma had him killed. What happened?
Might want to double check to make sure he's either gone to ground or if he's gone.
Gone to ground or gone to ground.
Effectively, yes.
Maybe something maybe we can ask Stafford.
Potentially.
Either way, do y'all think we have the meeting here or a neutral ground somewhere?
The closest thing we have to neutral grounds is going to be the outskirts where there aren't too many kind or kindred. Just run the risk of a wild lupine, especially with the weirdos even encroaching in my territories.
I thought you were one of the weirdos in your territory.
Notwithstanding.
I kind of agree. Maybe somewhere where there is no favor either way.
Neutral ground is best. At least that's how I've always operated when I have to do meetings.
Storyteller. Were the Princess Theaters neutral?
No, she was. She's Anarch.
Okay.
Now she tolerated the.
The emissary.
There was a Toreador that acts as an emissary that he would often show up there, but that was technically as his role as emissary. Because he was there the night it was attacked, but y'all were there.
Yeah. Is there a known neutral location for meetings?
That little playground area that Blackjack dealt with Anarchs last time?
Yeah.
Let's
That's
see.
Before
you
before
met
that
the
precipitator?
Anarchs at what had been a closed down credit union one time.
No. Before that, before I knew they were Anarchs.
Where we met up with the Banu Hakim and Harmony?
Yes, that spot.
Oh, that was the park. Yeah, that's the park over the river.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's one of the Far Barons parks. The female gangrel.
Yeah, the warden.
Blanking on her name. Yes, the Warden of the North. Valerie Vega.
Okay. She seems the coolest to, those sorts of talks. At least in conversation, so we can let her know. And then she can make her.
We would ask her first, not just let her know. It's her territory.
Fine, do it that way then.
I mean, if you want to piss off a gangrel, go for it. But
I mean, don't
Kyle
they do the
just
weird?
grins.
Don't they do the weird and he goes like this thing in the ground?
yeah, last time I believe she was hiding in the earth, but I wouldn't want to put that past whatever he brings with him.
Oh, you misunderstand what I'm saying. No, I'm saying it's a good idea to have someone who can do that. Just be in the area, unbeknownst to whatever representatives come by, just in case things go south.
Looking over at, I keep forgetting his name. The security guy. He's
Kincaid?
probably still here. Is he still here, just listening to all this?
Yes, he is. He's kind of half raising his hand.
But you got any ideas, Kincaid?
The whole neutral territory thing is fine, but he's requesting the meeting.
Yeah. So
You
he's
know,
probably gonna
let him
request the meeting
suck it up
spot.
and come to our home turf.
That's a fair point.
Only
And
thing
do
is, I
we-
don't like him showing. I don't want to show him our, where we are.
I also
Somewhere.
don't want to have a random influx of kindred that we have to then talk to the other barons about. Oh yeah, there's these like 4 other kindred that just showed up. Real mystery as to how they got here.
Not their territory, not
Our
their business.
domain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, if you wanted something out of the way, but still not public, but kind of out in the open. You know, the mall's closed. Park behind the mall. You know, that'll keep you blocked off from most of the streets.
And we have
Yeah.
a good enough rapport with
But
Woodard.
good field of view. Both sides should feel like they've got a
Good field of view. There's cameras like right above. Gotta talk to Woodard about changing those cameras out.
I don't think Woodard would mind putting a few security up on the roof with some firearms if it came down to it.
Yeah.
Well, that
I
meant we're
like
probably
it.
keeping an
Good job,
eye
Kincaid.
on the others on the other side of the line, but
Clear it through Woodard first. Our domain, but it's her mall.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick, and I'll call Woodard. I'll just
Oh.
do like an about face and call Woodard.
one of our security people answers the phone.
Good, Kyle.
Decatur Mall.
Is Woodard in?
I'll see if Miss Woodard is in.
Appreciate it.
And yeah, just a minute later, Woodard picks up. Hello.
Hey, Woodard. Hi. How's the evening treating you?
Oh, pretty well. It's not terribly busy over here since with the mall closed, due to the lockdown. But I'm just here doing some paperwork.
Oh, awesome. So I wanted to know if it would be okay if me and just a few of my friends could just have a little car show just back there. Nothing too overt, just a few faces, just talking shop, that sort of thing.
Oh, really?
A few
Friends?
faces from out of town.
One of them's pretty important.
Got a VIP we're trying to like schmooze, if you know what I mean.
From out of town? Anybody I would know?
Think so. Just some people out from out there.
Emma writing down on a post-it note, you can probably say the name.
The player is forgetting.
Stafford.
Oh, right. Names. Stafford.
There's a moment of silence over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Ford Stafford?
That's the one?
Well, he's not from out of town. He's just not from our neighborhood.
Yeah. But just wanted to clear it by you before we just showed up there in brute force.
Emma, that's a horrible choice of phrase. Facepalm.
And you're just wanting to use the back parking lot.
Yeah, just the back part so that it's blocked off from the street.
Oh, that makes sense.
And just in case other people wanted to catch a glimpse.
I suppose me and Stafford have something of a history.
Good history? Bad history?
Not particularly friendly, no. I suppose indirectly he's in some way responsible for me joining the Anarchs.
Would she say that over the phone?
No, you're right. He might be.
He's older than us.
He might inadvertently have been involved with me changing companies.
That's an interesting story that I'd love to hear sometime. But in the meantime,
he was definitely one of the ones that thought I should be terminated.
I see. Well, if it's still okay with you, we'd still love to do it. We won't have you anywhere near it. Just or are you afraid that he would be aware?
Oh, he knows I'm running the mall. That's
Okay. Alrighty. Well,
Post-it note, does she have any suggestions of other locations if we can't use the parking lot?
do you have any other suggestions then, as far as a?
if you want it outside, that's probably the best in the domain or in the area. And certainly, we're not using it for anything else right now.
Right. Well, I'm sorry for inconveniencing you then.
Welcome
Oh
to
no, it's
post
quite all right.
security.
I'll keep a few extra security on hand just to make sure nobody gets rowdy.
That's probably a good idea. You know how these car shows can get. Alrighty. Well, you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you so much. We'll probably be there in within the next couple of nights.
They were wanting to have it tonight.
Ah. Sometime tonight then.
Oh, if she gives a time. I was just like, if she can give us a time frame that would work best for her and her security, we can arrange for it to happen then.
I'll repeat that.
She just said, "Oh, as long as you give me a half hour of warning, I can have the security on hand."
You got it. Alright, well, I will do just that. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Mr. Lynn. She hangs up.
As long as we gave her 30 minutes notice, we're good.
Probably also make the rest of the security patrols aware of what's going on. We don't need everyone there, so that would just be putting all of our eggs in one basket. But they should definitely be on heightened alert for stuff to
Suspicious
go down.
activities.
And if they have to make a turn to the mall, there needs to be a good, response time.
PK tells you, "I'll keep a squad on hand. Just right nearby that can jump in if they need to. And I'll have everybody else out keeping an eye on things just to make sure this isn't a distraction or but everybody will be ready to come. We'll have a message pre-done ready to send out that we'll have everybody fall in.
What if we used our sneaky sneaks to be out, doing patrols, and our,
I was
more
already planning
upfront
on doing
folks.
that.
More upfront folks in inland some more.
Well, KK's like, most of my folks are Bruja.
They're not sneaky.
Yeah, but
Baron
you're not the
Walt,
only-
Walter might be able to call in some NOS buddies.
Yeah, it's more what I was getting at.
I'm pretty good at disappearing when I need to, so I can keep an eye on things on the perimeter.
Speaking of perimeter, let's notify our neighbors.
Yep, we need to.
Just in case things decide to go south, extra assistance wouldn't go missed. Just as a show of preparation and force.
You folks have a better rapport with the extra barons. So I'll leave that to you.
While this is going on, Walter's just kind of sitting in his little cubicle, already kind of typing out to fellow Nos of who feels like getting a little overtime today.
Everyone likes overtime.
I'm asking this time, but it's gonna be forcing a little bit.
It's voluntary as long as someone volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
It's voluntary at the beginning until I have to start pulling names.
Mm-hmm. Put my pull names out of a hat. I'll be back.
But yeah, you get 2 or 3 responses. Overtime. Yeah, they'd be happy to swing by and talk to you about that.
And they'll reach out to the neighboring baronries and just let them know what's going on. And we don't expect anything to go south, but we want to make you aware of This, of course, would all be like phrased in vampire cant, you know.
Mm.
But just making them aware of what's going on, as well as to keep an eyeball on their own borders in case they try and sneak by.
Okay. So yeah, I think Clint runs the closest barony, the Sherwood Oaks barony. I think it's
Yeah.
the closest one to you. He was the one that was griping about getting left out of the loop on something.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
again, we're gonna make sure that we're not gonna let that happen twice.
Yeah, the Bali.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because wasn't it like pretty much in their territory?
It was on their front door, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
y'all
in
drove
that no
past their
man's land.
territory.
To accomplish this, yeah. So yeah. Try not to step on the toes of our neighbors again, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Play the politics game.
Yep.
She says if they'd like to send a representative to listen in on the meeting, they're welcome to.
Would Clint be interested in that?
Yeah, how much do they know about what went on last night, anyways?
Well, that's a good idea, or a good question.
I mean, she did send a call out to the neighboring barons for backup, but I don't think anyone got there in time.
Mm. That is a good point. Walter, after you send out your thing for the overtime, you get a couple of messages back, asking, hey, I'd like to meet, we can meet up, talk about the overtime, and you could fill us in on the workplace accident that happened last night.
He'd be like, "Oh, right, that's in the report I need to send out today." So yeah, I can easily tell you all about that when y'all get here. I would guess that most of our security would know about our office at this point.
Probably.
That we're kind of using as a little base instead of the dead man's.
Yeah, it's fun. I've dropped points in just to have a specific, like, coterie meeting place that is not the dead man's.
Yeah, so he would let them know, like, yeah, just come by the central office and I'll explain things.
Okay. So a little bit later, you get knocks on the doors, even though you don't always see who's doing the knocking.
He hears the knocking. He looks through the peephole. He sees nobody. He does that traditional little tap on the door to see if they match the rhythm back.
The shave and a haircut.
Yep.
They do.
And he just happily opens the door and lets them in.
All right, so you've got like 3 knocks that show up. Dude, what went down last night?
Oh, well, the cam being cam, unfortunately. And trying to do shenanigans, as it were.
So they just, flat out invaded?
More or less.
I took great joy in running them over with a truck.
Walter chuckles at that. I mean, I at least took out 2 on a motorcycle, at least attempted to. I don't think they were ready to have something of my size take them out, as it were.
Especially they didn't see it coming.
Oh no, they were completely unaware of me. It was fantastic. Though he shows where some of the healing has been done. Is like, though I didn't completely get out of it unscathed, but I'll be fine.
There's an old guy talking to reporters about some weird stuff he saw.
Yeah, we may have to see about disposing of them if need be.
Dementia is a hell of a thing.
Well, that too.
One of the nods like, yeah, and there was a this wasn't in the domain, but there was some well, at first the police said it was burned human remains, and then they came back later and said, oh no, that was a mistake.
Where at?
And he names that church.
At that point, Walter's going to stop and spin in his chair, looking towards the rest of the coterie with a kind of smile like, would someone like to explain that one to me?
Not
They
my
found the
domain,
body.
not my problem. What?
What?
Ah.
They found
So
the
we
body.
so we have the answer to that question as to why, at least to some degree.
Who's
Which
the
body?
The
This is
Nas guy's
important.
like, who's? Oh yeah. He starts to say whose body, and Egidio beats him to it.
The asshole messed with my guys. I wasn't gonna let that stand.
Ah.
Mr. Saul,
Walter-
some cam.
Walter then turns back to the three Nos and is like, ah, yes. There were two particular individuals that was trying to get ready to spread chaos by means of plastic explosives. One of them
Oh.
happening to be trying to do this at, and he gestures to Cal, at Dead Man's. So therefore, our beloved friend here was rather pissed.
Ooh, so you left him out in the sun.
I just
Ooh.
very casually pull out a brick from my bag. Like, yeah,
Why
they
are you
did.
carrying that? Oh, jeez.
To put it into perspective, I told them once. I warned them once. This shit happens again, I'll go on the offensive. So I tracked him down. I hunted him across the line. I stalked him to his haven, attacked him in his stronghold, and then left him to die. More of a message than anything else.
Well, he definitely died. And the people that found it, called it in as human remains, and the story changed later. Oh, that was a mistake, but that struck me as a cam cover up, probably.
Probably.
But that also
Oh.
means it's cleaned up. So,
Oh, definitely.
but really, a church parking lot, it's just tacky.
It was the widest area I could find in short notice because I was running on borrowed time with the sun almost up.
Right.
And I
But-
wanted to make sure he died.
Now we know, in case that comes up in the meeting.
But Walter finally tells him, like, to be fair, the reason why I asked for a little bit of assistance is we just need some extra eyes in places, as it were, just to check in on some few things. And of course, as we all know, we are rather good at, being undetected.
Be extra vigilant around the places that aren't the mall, for example. Be extra vigilant out there and making sure we're not getting deceived or yanked around or focused in one spot so that they can do whatever elsewhere.
Isn't that what the Brujas are for?
They are, but we're entertaining a VIP tonight, and we want to make sure it's not them coming over here to try and get us to put all of our forces in one place versus having them all about. We just want to have a little bit of extra eyes and ears out amongst the street in case something goes down.
Oh, okay.
Specifically, eyes and ears.
Okay.
The Bruja are a presence, as you may know.
But
More
again,
of a-
it's
Go ahead.
Walter just like, it's nice to have reliable people that can do things a bit more subtle, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. They're certainly willing to help if you just need them out patrolling. They're happy to do you this small favor.
Of course. Of course, he hears the word, or hears it ring in his mind. He's like, right, that'll come back to bite me later, I'm sure. But anyway, and no, he doesn't say that aloud.
Thinks
Let
it
alone,
really loud to himself.
oh yeah.
You're talking with your face again, buddy.
He's like, right.
That's a
But
face that
that
talks
was,
loud.
yeah, the facial expressions scream volumes. But he just turns to like, that's just mainly what we need y'all to do. So, just do it as your own discretion, and of course contact me in our usual ways. If anything truly goes awry, you're welcome to personally contact any of us. And we'll see about getting to you immediately.
Kincaid also makes sure they have his number.
We have to give this guy a time for the meeting, and it gives us enough time to get ready. You think 2 hours?
2.5. Make it a 30 after.
Right, because didn't you mention that they need a warning?
Mm-hmm.
Gives him
Fantastic.
time to get ready. Gives Woodard time to get people in place. Us
Mhm.
time to get people in place, and then just sit here and quietly stew about it.
You all can
Yeah.
quietly stew about it.
Oh,
Okay,
my
you can
dear.
loudly stew.
I will.
Remember, dear, we are playing the politics game. We've got to play our cards, or at least play our parts.
Yep.
What are the features of this office? Is it just like a little WeWork space?
It's kind of like a WeWork space. It's nothing spectacular. It has a silenced room, for special meetings.
Okay.
But that's about it. It's nothing insane. It's more of a front than anything. It does get used, though.
It's just funny to see Walter in his little cubicle in the corner. He takes up.
fun. It's a fun visual. He takes up. It's like trying to fit a pyramid in a cube.
He's just like hunched over like a jumbo shrimp.
Typing at a desktop.
I'm just picturing a professional wrestler trying to sit in a middle schooler's desk.
Exactly. Like putting Andre the Giant in a first grader's chair.
All right. Well, if there is no other need of me, then I will be back.
You
Be
over
safe
by
in
the
your
mall.
travels.
Gideon will go into the silence room. You see him like start to pull out a little like Tupperware thing with like some mesh with a little one of those steel wool sponges.
What is he up to?
Gideon's gonna go and perform the ritual, the only one he knows right now. Planting the aloe.
Oh, that's the one that like screws with cameras and whatnot.
And I'll make a rouse check for it.
Okay.
I think that's the only thing I have to do. Oh fuck. Okay.
But you're hungry.
And yep. And then I'm sure that'll take a few hours of time, and you don't hear it, but there's like some chanting going on in the silenced room.
Emma's gonna get a sign that says, "Please don't summon demons in this meeting room."
And yep. And then he'll pull it out, or he'll put everything back. And he comes back out, and there's like this. There's this little bit of aluminum foil. He comes back, and he's like, "All right, I'm ready to go." He stops, looks at Emma, maybe a little too long. Thank you for the space, and then he stops looking at her.
I'm gonna go peek in there, make sure there's like nothing awry in the room.
Nothing in there. If
No,
you go
no,
in there behind him, there's nothing in there.
the
Yeah,
pentagram's
no.
written in invisible ink. Still
Water
counts.
dissolving.
like what do you call it? Like scrubbed off salt.
I got the pink stuff in a scrub daddy and just took care of it.
Yep. And then he'll at some point start wearing like he'll have that on he'll get like a little like you know those things that have that hold the iPhone the sleeves.
Like the athletic ones when you're running?
Yeah, the athletic sleeves for running. He gets one of those, and he puts the steel wool in it, but facing this way so that no one knows it's there.
Kincaid's just looking at you.
While it all went on, she would have let Woodard know the time and also called back the emissary to make sure that was a good time.
All right, so you call back. I think her name was Zara.
Yeah, Zara Green.
Yes. She picks up first ring. Yes, Miss Hawthorne.
Would your client be available in about 2.5 hours?
That should be agreeable.
Good. I'll send you the address.
Very well. Now how many other people are going to be at this meeting?
Did Clint ever get back if he wanted to have someone contact?
He sent back that he doesn't see a point to his people being there. So long as you'll report, pertinent information.
Of course. There will of course be myself and the other barons. Due to the location, people that have interests there will be keeping watch over it, but they will not be involved in the meeting directly.
Oh, and where was the meeting? You said you were sending me the address, but where was the meeting at?
Oh, I apologize. Going to be near the mall, on the backside, away from the street. Out in the open. That way there's, no chance of anyone coming around corners or anything like that.
That seems agreeable. In that case, we will most likely be me, Mr. Stafford, and let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of y'all. 3 or 4 security personnel.
Of course. Would you like one of our security detail to meet you at the edge of the domain to escort you there? This, of course, would be in Vampire Can't.
Yes.
Vampires can't.
The neighborhood.
And it is an actual thing.
Just saves time on me trying to figure out how to phrase this for, telephone calls.
That's how.
It is, but my brain is
The best part about
squishy.
Vampire.
Okay, then she'll be like, would you like me to have someone meet you to make sure you get to the location? It's a bit of a backwards way to it sometimes. People can get a little turned around.
No, they think they can get there without any trouble.
Understood. I'll let folks know that you are on your way then.
All right.
We will see you then.
In 2 hours.
2.5.
2.5. Apologies.
Unless you feel like arriving fashionably early, but 2.5.
All right, so you have got the meeting set up. Kincaid steps away and makes some calls to get his people arranged.
I'm gonna raid my fridge. And they had like some really gross stuff left that it's just on the edge of what's edible for vampires.
It's just on the edge of what's edible for you, which means it's past edible for most vampires.
Yeah. So bringing that back down. 1.
If anyone has anything to do before this happens, now's the time. Make sure we're all presentable and not covered in gore, please.
That'll be my next question is, do you all need me there?
Did say the Barons would be there. Why? Do you have some other place to be?
I'm better at patrolling and keeping an eye on things.
You would be conspicuous by your absence.
We understand you're better at your patrols. However, unfortunately, this is the part we play now.
We can make excuses if need be. And you've never been one for meetings. Which are you more comfortable with?
It's an uncomfort thing. They will actively look for you. If we're trying to have peace talks, probably don't want to also have somebody lurking, one of the barons lurking.
Hmm.
I'd say that myself and the Barons. I never specified all the Barons, at least.
No, you did not.
He steps back between you all to sort it out.
Mhm.
Either way, the meeting's in 2.5 hours. Let's all try to be presentable.
I'm good to go.
The Judio already in the fancy suit.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel better keeping an eye on things from a distance. Or at least patrolling to make sure nothing's sneaking over from anywhere else.
Man patrol.
So I'm sure they'd understand, especially considering the latest intrusion into Camarilla territory.
Yeah. We also just don't have to bring it up.
If they
Sure.
ask, is attending to other business within the domain.
All right.
You have to come to the next meeting, though. You can't keep just backing out of meetings.
I've been to the last several meetings.
You left dramatically through the last two.
You'll get it one of these days, Gidio.
What?
I don't even. I'm gonna go get out of into something a little bit more classy. Different hat, at least.
I suppose I could freshen up a bit.
You wear that one fun tie that you have.
Sure, we'll go with that.
The one that like sticks out like a party favorite.
It has like little it's like a pattern, but like little rats are hidden in it.
Yeah, video's good. Ritual's
Yep.
completed. And I am all set to move.
Wait, are you taking Shiloh with you at least, or am I still babysitter?
I'll have Shiloh with me, don't worry.
Okay. You're just Shiloh.
He's been antsy that he hasn't been with me. He's
Yeah,
come
he kind of
away
just
this time.
he likes chicken nuggets. Not a big fan of pup cups.
I'm aware he likes chicken nuggets.
The
I have
Wendy's
too
one.
many chicken nuggets. Thanks to him. I'm aware he likes them. Thank you.
That's Shiloh. Goes off to get ready. Leaves the hand in the fridge at the office. Like locked up, like at the manager's kind of office. Not in the like communal fridge. Severed hand, do not open.
Just keep adding on to it. Come on. I believe in you.
And it's like that
Sorry.
dead dove.
De-
It's like, what
it's
did you
that- it's-
expect?
It's that don't dead open inside.
Yeah, no, she's got it in a secure location within the office that only she has access to.
Hmm.
In her tiny refrigerator.
I'll post a GIF of Shredder's man coming out like that at the end of what was it, TNMT 2?
Wait, what?
He comes out of the wood where he like shoves his hand out of the debris.
Yeah, into the slime one. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was the second one.
Yeah. Are we doing anything about? I'll just have that GIF.
Are we doing anything about Shredder? I thought there were some turtles that took care of him. She for real does not get what we're going for here.
That
Because I also don't. What are we going for
that
here?
recipe. Oh, he's asking about the hand.
Oh. Let's see if we need to. Someone might take it off of ours this evening, just depending on how the meeting goes.
All right.
You know how people like knickknacks.
I suppose.
Can't get enough of them in their grubby little mitts. She's going to be making a lot of hand puns just because she can.
Do you need a hand with these puns, or are you good?
You don't have to point fingers about it.
I gotta go, guys. I'm throwing up the X card. Just immediately throwing up the X card.
I'd give you a thumbs up, but
Murder's fine, but puns, we can't do it.
Puns are where I cross the line.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, moving on then.
The murder is just business.
you
Puns
just
are
don't.
personal.
You just don't have the qualifications. I understand.
Why'd you even bring bears into this? This isn't even okay.
I'm actually just bringing my hair down. Continue.
You
I
mentioned
thought you
koalas,
literally
now
just like took your headphones off after that.
you mentioned koala bears, and all I can think of is a New World of Darkness game. Drop bears, the plummeting.
Are these bears that like go skydiving to like be tactically inserted onto into areas? Just drop bears.
Well, they dropped wolves in places in Yosemite, so I mean it's possible.
True. And before we find out they're all werebears.
Okay, I vote time skip to meeting.
Works for me.
Thank
Unless
God.
anyone had something they wanted to do before meeting.
Yes. Does anybody have anything they need to do before meeting? You got 2.5 hours.
I already did my thing.
I mean, depends on how dark it is and if anybody's asleep.
Probably be close to 10 o'clock.
Well, the sun goes down around 8:30 this time of year. So y'all been messing around for.
At least an hour.
So yeah, it's
Probably
probably
more.
9:30. Yeah, you're right. It's probably about 10 o'clock. We'll say it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, when we break up. And then the meeting at like 12:30.
Mhm.
Or midnight. That'd be a culturally, or not culturally, thematically appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Walter,
Mainly just-
it's late enough that at least some folks have gone to sleep.
Yeah, because he just mainly wants to get a little hunting in if he can.
All right. You can start perusing some of the surrounding neighborhoods.
Let's see. I mean, he tried to go for just about anybody in the slums and potentially just any idiot that's just like falling asleep outside if he can. Make for easy prey.
All right, give me a roll.
What is it? I think it's stealth And what? Wits? Or. I tend to forget what we use for the secondary stat.
For Sandman, I think it's dexterity stealth.
That
Thank you.
sounds right.
It is. I think we're the same predator.
We are.
Depending on how you hunt as a Sandman.
Yeah.
Because
The deep.
Kyle last game, he drugged people, so he had the medicine one.
Samuel.
So, you know what I meant.
Unfortunately, just 2.
But yeah, if you're sneaking into houses and stuff, that falls under stealth. So yeah, Dex stealth is a good way to go.
And he's straight up just trying his best to sneak, look for any easy prey, because he just wants to slate some hunger off.
He's a hungry boy.
He's at 3, but I'd like to try and get more off if I can.
All right, well, yeah, that's only 2 successes.
Yeah, so probably no dice.
Oh no, there's 4 dice in there. You just didn't get any.
I mean,
Apprentice.
I could probably just go ahead. Well,
Where were you hunting?
Slums.
I think you only need 2 there. That's what I've been using.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about hunting in the domain. You're right.
Okay, I mean, if that's enough to just find somebody, quick drink, drop down 2 hunger, perfect. If
yeah,
I can't reroll anyway. I was thinking about it, I was like, wait, I can't reroll because there's only 1 in the genuine dice pool, and I got it.
But so yeah, you're poking around in a not so nice neighborhood, but you see a 2nd story window that's cracked open. And of course, with your newfound, that newfound leaping ability of yours you displayed last session, you have no problem getting up to the 2nd story window.
Woohoo!
Snap both your legs backwards.
Very loud cricket noises.
You hop up there. You hear this. You hear this humming. They've got a fan set up. They got the window cracked. The fan set up. Maybe they don't have central air in this house. Who knows?
Well,
You're not as sensitive as you're not as sensitive to temperature as you used to be, so you hardly notice such things.
I personally just think that myself is just like, this poor soul.
mhm.
Not Walter. He could care less. Like, oh, you have trouble with the heat, not my problem. But for me personally, it's just like, yes, you poor soul.
Sympathy in Southern.
Yes, sympathy in Southern.
Tell me about it.
And yeah, there's a 50 or so year old heavy set guy, laying on the bed with all the covers kicked off. Nothing but his tidy whities, fan blowing directly on him.
Just a spokesperson of the South in the summer.
Pretty much. Poor Paul Walter's just looking at this situation, just like, well, it's gonna be a little bit of a salty snack, but it'll work.
He's just laying there in Walter's eyes like a roasted turkey on Thanksgiving.
Looks like a giant ham.
Though color-wise, he's more like an uncooked turkey. But that if you dropped it on the floor and it got some hair on it, that sort of thing.
He's already marinating. It's pre-brined.
Jesus.
Don't worry, folks. We have plenty of jokes for this kind of situation.
Because that's totally appropriate for this game.
We're the What We Do in Shadows vampire group.
For What We Do in Shadows, and no matter what genre we're in, what are you talking about?
The rest of you can do political horror. We're doing What We Do in Shadows.
Not intentionally, it just sort of happens. So anyway, Walter, how much are you slacking?
Just 2. I mean,
Okay.
part of me had thought about slating all 3, but it's just like, I mean, he could.
Can't do all 3.
No, I can't do all 3. Not unless I want to hurt him.
Not unless you want to kill him.
Yeah, you can't get down to 0 without killing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair
You
enough.
have to fully drain someone to slake that.
That
last
one. Gotcha. Yeah, then he's just doing the 2. Just give himself a little snack, no damage, let the wound close. Probably think back and just like, I could use a little bit of extra spices, maybe pepper, but we'll worry about that next season.
All right, so you managed to get back to the mall in time for the meeting.
Ooh. Even put on that nice little tie that's decorated with little rats.
Everyone looking sharp.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, poor Walter would have to be wearing a pissing bed sheet in order to have like a suit jacket. As much material as he would
cloak.
need. Basically, he need a traveler's cloak at this point just to have something.
You're
Yeah, I don't
Baron.
know.
We could probably arrange for someone to make you a suit.
Can't remember if Decatur's got a big and tall shop or not. No,
Big and
Huntsville does.
Dorito. This looks like the goon.
All right. So 12:30 rolls around. Y'all are all in the back behind the mall. Well, other than Kyle. Basically standing around Emma's car. Right on time, a black limousine pulls around.
The Nosferatu in the most conspicuous vehicle.
Stuff to keep up appearances. House arrest with another to Camarilla.
They are Cam, yeah, that does make sense.
Plus, being a Nos wants to probably flaunt it a little bit.
So, y'all are in one parking place. They kind of pull up to like the next row of parking places over because the limo takes up, both sides.
A bit.
The driver of the limo just stays, he stays where he's at. Both hands are out, up on the wheel. Riding in the passenger side, you see Zara. She opens the door, gets out, and then opens the door for Stafford. He steps out. He's fairly tall fellow, not Walter tall, but fairly tall fellow. Fills out his suit like he's got some muscle up under there. Very nice suit, very expensive suit. He is very much kind of the old style Nosferatu. Think back at the previous editions when they were walking masquerade breeches.
He's upright like a human, but otherwise he's a monster with like claws and shit.
His hands have the kind of slightly extra long fingers.
Like almost rodent-y.
Kind of. It's like at a glance, they almost look like they have extra joints. They don't, but it's like they're long enough like there should be an extra segment there or something.
Yeah.
The nails are pointed, but not really long enough to truly be claws.
Got a manicure.
No hair. The eyes are kind of sunk into their sockets. You can't really see an iris or pupils in his eyes. At least not at any sort of distance.
We know his rank is Primogen, though, right?
Right. Yeah, he was
okay.
he is the Nos Primogen, and was even before all this stuff went down.
Primogen Stafford.
One of his security people get out of the other door. So far, everybody you've seen except the driver is clearly a Nos.
Zara was a Nos as well?
Yes, Zara was a Nos.
Okay, I just couldn't remember 900%.
Yeah.
Representative Stafford, it's a pleasure to meet you. I understood
Hawthorne?
through your emissary that you wish to speak to us about the events that have recently occurred.
I have an offer for you. As far as the events that occurred, my people were not involved. The Malkavians have taken some issue with you. And if you remember, the Malkavian Primogen is the one that runs the hospital across the belt line from you.
Oh, perfect.
Understandable
is-
given the proximity.
What's their grievance?
He is still convinced that you killed his ghoul.
Out
The
of
ner-
character. Didn't we have proof we didn't?
I don't think we've presented that proof.
Yeah, I don't know that you ever presented that proof to the cam.
No.
It may have been mentioned that that it was more of a setup to somebody, but
Would it interest you if to know then, before as you discuss that offer, because this is news to me, what their actual grievances were. So I thought we settled that, but I suppose we did not.
most of us are aware that it was someone, potentially a third party, trying to set us both up. He is not always the most reasonable sort, though.
I performed that autopsy.
Apparently, he was quite fond of her. Yes, ventured down into Hearthstone, from what I hear, and came back. Bravo.
And came back. And recorded my findings like a true professional. Pulls out like a little one of those, like in the shows where they have the tape recorder.
Well, I hope that's not on now.
It's not. It's not the recorder itself. It's just a cassette.
Oh, okay. And good evening to you, Mr. Luna.
Good evening. Apologies. That struck me because I thought that had been sorted, but fair enough. Word does travel quite slowly sometimes.
I recognize Iola and Walter, of course.
Greetings, sir.
Where is Mr. Adams?
Fortunately, there was other business that called at the last moment that his particular skill set was best suited to. Makes his apologies for not being able to attend this meeting.
Yes, he has always struck me as the sort that'd be terribly upset to miss a meeting.
We all have our strengths, and meetings are not his favorite, so.
Mash cut to somewhere where Kyle's just like has his claws full of blood somewhere. Metal music playing in the background.
Smash cut. He's currently like grinding a Nos's face across the wall somewhere.
Yeah, he's
or he's just picking up after Shallow, one or the other.
Yeah,
let's take a Shallow for a walk.
Gotta be a responsible pet owner. Little baggy.
Still with the metal music.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal soundtrack in the background.
Play dogs. Certainly overcast.
I believe we also have footage of that night of the people that left the unfortunate victim at the Dead Men's.
If you would be willing to share that, would be appreciated.
I don't believe there should be any issues sharing it. I will definitely look into it. I will contact the emissary and arrange for that to be handed off to you.
I would appreciate that. I doubt it will do much to calm things down. I mean, we are at war after all.
Worth a shot.
An olive branch.
At least we can say we are doing our part.
What are you saying, Sarah?
An olive branch to settle some tensions never goes amiss.
Mm-hmm. And it's speaking of settling those tensions is what brings me here. We have been fairly impressed with your handling of your domain. We had expected you to be, I suppose, based on Mr. Adams' past or his nature, we had expected you to be something of a blunt instrument. Good in direct confrontation, but more easily handled by subtler means. But you've proven to be quite adaptable.
Swiss Army knife holds many blades, I suppose.
So your offer?
I know for a fact that Mr. Adams is very attached to this area. Initially just his bar. If you could be convinced to join us, I can make assurances that Mr. Adams keeps his bar, keeps this territory.
I cannot speak for everyone, but I believe while we would appreciate the offer, it's not one that we can take you upon.
Quite
Truly,
fast.
are you truly dedicated to the Anarch cause? I mean, Mr. Luna, for example, isn't even from the country.
See, you've done your research.
Mr. Luna, are you truly dedicated to the Anarch cause, or was it simply a safe haven from some other threat? I do not know any specifics about that past. I just know the sorts of
Entities?
nasty organizations that you may have had to deal with.
Wouldn't be any different in any other organization. Would still have to watch fight back from them.
Well, of course, that is merely that is a curse of our existence. Frankly, I think you would find the Camarilla more to your liking. Perhaps a little more familiar to you. And Walter, I understand the gist of what your conflict with the Camarilla might be. Grandmother Dorcas, she went well off the rails. However, you are not in Huntsville. You're not in Prince Deschler's domain. So your, shall we call it illegitimate status, means nothing down here. The clan proper would welcome you with open arms. And I can say that with absolute certainty, as I would be the one in charge of that.
You understand this isn't a decision to be made lightly.
I understand completely, but I wish to make the offer in person. Miss Hawthorne, I'll be honest, I have no idea at all what your beef with the Camarilla is, or what made you fall in with the Anarchs. You are actually quite the enigma.
I will take that as a compliment then, considering the knowledge finding of Nosferatu.
I suppose it is a compliment. In some ways, also a warning. Not of violence, merely that we find you interesting. Take that as you will.
I will. I agree with Mr. Luna. It's not a decision to be made lightly, if at all. It is something that would have to be given the amount of time proportionate to the weight of it.
I understand it.
Hypothetically speaking, of course, should that decision come to swing in your favor, what protection would you be giving any of us from the Anarchs? I don't believe they would appreciate us having double crossed them or taking what had been theirs and being on their doorstep.
Initially, we would give you backup, extra boots on the ground. In all likelihood, some of the other members, other kindred in your domain, ones that chose to stay true to the Anarchs would likely flee to other domains.
Sounds
Of
as though
course.
you've done this before.
The war's been going on for some time.
Hmm.
But you would be given permission to expand your ranks enough to protect the domain.
It is a consideration that will be given time and weight.
Of course.
May I ask you a question, Mr. Stafford?
Certainly.
Do you know, by chance, who was responsible for the attack last night? You don't have to tell me their name or anything as such, but I would like to return something to them that they may be missing.
Very well. But I mean,
While he's
I have
advancing-
mentioned it was, he had mentioned it was the Malk Primogen that was really behind it all.
While their attention is that way, I'm going to activate Sense the Unseen.
Okay. Give me a roll.
Just what's awareness?
I believe it's.
What's awareness and auspics?
Well, would it be all three, or would it?
I think it's versus and
it's-
aspects.
It's your awareness gets replaced by aspects, but it allows you to see things that would normally be invisible via obfuscate.
And they roll their stealth obfuscate.
Yep.
Because it's power versus power, not
Yeah.
awareness versus stealth.
Cool. One success.
Woo!
Are you going to burn any willpower to re-roll anything?
I think I will, because I have the 2 I can roll. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, 3 successes.
Okay. All right. He also got 3 successes. Ties go to the player.
Mhm.
There is an obfuscated Nosferatu. He is perched on top of the limousine. You see him in, just flat out, like, it looks like SWAT gear.
Interesting.
He does not appear to be armed, but he's in like body armor, and he is. Occasionally he'll glance at the wood line, kind of back behind the mall. Mostly he's watching the top of the mall.
That's fair.
And if the car's here, he's on top of the car, and Stafford's on the other side from the mall.
Yeah, just making sure. I get the sense it's just to make sure he has to Mr. President the Primogen at some point.
That's the impression you get. Like that, obviously the Nos can be quite strong and whatever, but he's not wearing any obvious weapons.
Mm.
But like his chest area is very well armored. He's actually got the helmet on.
Yeah, I will. I'm just gonna do the thing where I just continue to look around, just as if I don't see him. But I will, just continue on my happy way, and
Okay.
the conversation goes back to.
Give me a regular old wits awareness while you're glancing around.
Yeah. Happily. Awareness. Wits. Hi, mother bitch.
That's a new one.
Yes, my child.
Now I'm thinking werewolf nuns.
I will burn a willpower on that one as well.
Burn
You
all
don't
the
need any
willpower.
willpower.
1 extra success, so 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. So yeah, glancing around, you don't see anything else. You know, you got some of your people in the woods, but you don't see them.
Mm.
You know, Woodard is supposed to have people up top, but you don't see them. So clearly, they're keeping their heads down.
Well, professionals here.
You know,
Yeah. Everyone's keeping a tight lid on their areas.
but Stafford goes, by all means, take your time considering my offer. As long as you don't take too long, you can rest assured that I'll take no direct action against you. But I speak only for myself. Without a prince currently in the city, I have no real control over how the other Primogens act. And this is an ongoing war.
And the other Primogens are aware of this offer.
Yes.
Or is this something? Okay.
Yes,
So,
we voted to make this offer, but some of the others have very little faith that you'll take us up on it. But I feel that it's worth the effort. I think you would be a great benefit to our side.
kind of, she may have already taken it out of the vehicle just so it didn't make any alarm, but she does have the cooler there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could have you deliver a gift to the Primogen that sent the two thin bloods over to us. I believe they'd be missing this part of him.
Oh, of course. And Zara steps forward to take it from you. Just in case it's a bomb or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Or do you take it out of the cooler to hand the hand?
No. Just trying to be professional. We won't go seeking violence, but violence levied against us will be answered in kind. Just so we're all aware of that.
Zara takes a look at it. Walks over, shows him. Ah, yes. I knew one of the other Primogens had enlisted the help of some of the thin blood.
Is there another business you wish to discuss, Mr. Stafford?
No, I believe that concludes what I needed to speak of. If there's anything you would like to ask or any business you'd like to bring up.
Glances around at the other barons real quick.
I think we are good at the moment.
Very well then.
Further questions, we'll reach out through your emissary, Mr. Stafford.
Very good then, Miss Hawthorne. Hey, all of you have a good evening.
Oh, here I'll offer up the cassette just to hand it off, just to the autopsy report.
Ah, and Zara steps forward. Thank you.
We'll also arrange to have that footage given to the emissary as well, Miss Green, so that the proper people may have to deal with the consequences of their actions.
We would be very interested in finding out who was actually responsible.
That's what we.
And with that, he gets back in his car.
Benoit stays on top.
Yeah,
Just surfing away.
Car surfing.
Yeah, you're not sure what he's hanging on to up there, but there's clearly something up there that he's keeping his grip on.
Industrial suction cups.
Sorry.
Depending on how you described his build, he might just have uncanny grip.
That's also possible.
Yeah, it's those talons instead of toes. Just
don't
Magnets.
scratch the paint. But the limousine pulls off.
As they leave, and as I'm sure everyone's gone because I still have sentiency up. I'll look at you all and go, if they wanted to, they had a NOS on the roof of the car. They could have just jumped us whenever.
That doesn't surprise me much, but again, he was probably security detail just in case.
Sure. Didn't have a weapon, but don't really need one.
Let's have this conversation a little less out in the open.
But of course.
I don't know if Woodard would be. Do you think Woodard would be interested in hearing all this?
I don't know. Would she? I look up at the who I know is patrolling up there on the roof.
They can't hear us.
Yeah, you're not like right by the wall. Y'all are out some ways.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody had heightened senses, you know, like, there's stuff.
Either way,
So just text me back like, yes, she would.
No,
either
nobody
way, we know
responds.
one thing for certain: they see us as a threat if they're wanting to add us to their side.
Oh yeah. I say we say that when we're in the car.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody piles into Emma's car.
I'm bombing that hospital.
Like at the door closed, it's like I am bombing the hospital.
Yes.
Just Walter just kind of does that, like trying to understand Blink. Like, well, that escalated fast.
Did it though?
We've been wanting to do something with the hospital for a while.
Got 2
Just said while she's
boxes
driving.
and a bag full of explosives.
I mean, depending on how tight security is, and
Some of you
how
could be invisible.
They can see people that are invisible. You saw people that were invisible.
By the time they see us, it'll be too late.
Will it though?
No, it's not recorded.
But to be fair, we could also use the same tactics they did.
During the day.
Have someone that can blatantly just deliver the package. Make it look like it's just part of the regular items and have it ready to go if need be.
I could reach out to. Oh god, I forgot his name. The one thin blood that we're working with. Deckard?
Furman Dorsey.
Furman.
Furman.
How are you forgetting a
aware
name
that-
like that?
For the same reason, I've never heard a name like that. You could see if Furman maybe knows anyone that can do something similar to the 2 that we had to kill.
We certainly could try, if nothing else.
I don't know if Ada has that skill or not.
Maybe a Venture in here somewhere.
All right, so y'all
A
drive
Venture
back.
that isn't the person in the mall.
Y'all are driving back to the office.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
all 5 minutes it takes to get there, if even that.
Well, if you drive straight there, no, hardly anything at all because you're just crossing a couple of parking lots.
Eh,
But if you do that whole circle around loop thing, it takes just a little bit longer. You know, 10, 15 maybe. Because you basically exit out the south and then go behind the woods and the entire length of the domain back up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not in the camp of joining. I have a feeling that would just paint the biggest target on our back, but also not joining makes the target already on our back larger.
You're not wrong.
Unless, you know, I hate to, I don't hate to potentially double cross, but run it by other barons.
Mm.
Man on the inside, so to say, wouldn't go amiss, but it would pool. It would. There would be lots of complications.
Yes, there would.
We still occasionally have those meetings with the other baronries, correct?
Yes, you haven't had one recently. Well, any more recently than the one Kyle walked out on.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if anyone is available for an impromptu meeting.
Mm-hmm.
For tonight or for like the next night?
Yes.
People got stuff going on. Probably the next night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just double checking the newsletter for errors and if anyone has anything additional they wanted to add, just so that people know it's a meeting.
So
Okay.
a little while later, Kyle will text him like, "So how'd the meeting go?"
This will get a reaction. How do you feel about joining up with the cam?
You say
I
that
don't
over
have any
text.
cameras. What are you talking about?
Become one with the camera.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't. No, she wouldn't have texted that because she's not an idiot. Player though, the player, big idiot. She would have put something like, "So we're thinking about switching sides for the next fantasy football."
Hold on. There's a GIF I need to find. Is what you're gonna get in response to that.
Fantastic.
Homer Simpson flipping the bird.
And I can't post it.
Okay, I'll put it in Tuesday.
For those listening to this or watching it, I think it's a.
I'm sorry, what?
Is that an Everything Sunny GIF?
In Philadelphia, I believe, yeah. But basically, his response is the guy just one brow raised, like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Yeah, the opposing one of the opposing captains makes a very persuasive argument.
Be like, we're gonna go rooting for War Eagle instead of Roll Tide. Yeah.
You want to get us killed?
Y'all
The
live in
phone
Alabama. I don't
rings.
care.
So the phone starts ringing now.
That was
That'd
quick.
be the best
Hello.
way to understand. I mean, as the player, not the
Emma?
character, was saying.
Do
And
I
I got
need to pull you all aside and have a talk?
I got you to call really quick. We now know how to get you to call. It was a joke, of course. We're heading back to the office if you want to meet us there.
Better not
Really
be rude.
uppity about his
really
fantasy
Tigers.
football.
Yeah, I mean, he really gets really defensive about the sports ball.
Have you ever actually watched any Bama football games?
Yes, the crowd's insufferable. I can say that because I live in Texas.
No, Kyle's saying this in character.
Okay.
I'm not really one for the sports ball. Which team are they again? Do they have like a wolf mascot, or was it a dog mascot, or was it a cat maybe?
I am educating you post haste. Click.
Big shit-eating grin, continuing the loop around to the office.
Yeah, Kyle would be at the office with Shiloh when they get there.
Wow, he didn't do
Out
anything
front.
this whole time.
Emma made the mistake of getting computers that had solitaire on them.
Mm-hmm.
He actually might be on one computer playing my Minesweeper at the moment.
You even leave here?
Yes, I left. I did a few circuits around the domain.
Yeah, they're. This is inside, of course, and they're the only ones in there. They're,
Can I hazard a guess that they were the limo that went by?
yeah.
What? That is the most inconspicuous.
No, the most conspicuous vehicle.
You know what I meant. So what do they want?
They extended an offer of us joining up with them, the promise that they would back us up and allow us to expand our ranks.
Allow.
The other Camarilla Primogen are aware of the offer. And come the meeting tomorrow, I will make the other barons aware of it, and decide if we want to go double agent or
Oh,
what.
this is my mortal life all over again.
Though, in some news, I'm sure you were probably aware of, it was the beloved Markavian. What was it, Markavian? The one that runs the hospital?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the
they're the ones
Yes.
that were responsible for the whole shindig last night.
Oh, good.
Apparently, they still hold a grudge of their favorite ghoul being killed.
So do I.
Speaking of, can I get the copy of that footage cleaned up if we have to put out just basically a shot of the people dropping off the body?
How many do you want?
They can get one copy, they can make their own.
Holds out a flash drive.
That was entirely too quick. Okay. I'll get it to the emissary later.
Never know when you might need one.
Well, it's
Oh.
clear that they're threatened by us.
Of course. They're threatened by us, or if they aren't threatened, they consider how we've been handling things or what potential assets they might gain from acquisition of our domain and our own individual abilities to be worth the risk of extending an offer of joining.
You don't want me to tell you about my plans to blow up the hospital.
That would be bad.
It would definitely draw more than just kindred attention.
Well, that, and you would piss off the entirety of the rest of the baronries.
Yeah. Just I'm sick
Because
of that. I'm sick of that guy in there.
That hospital is the single best source of blood right now in the city with the pandemic going around.
I'm just sick of that guy in there.
Well, the city has multiple
I'm-
hospitals, but they're all under camp controls.
Yeah, but that's the biggest one, I believe, in the city. I don't go to Decatur much, so
Not sure if it's bigger than the old Decatur General or not. Probably similar sized.
Maybe it just has a better blood drive.
but that
True.
one, I think that one isn't that one also sort of like a subsidiary of Huntsville Hospital.
It is now,
Or is
yes.
It is now.
But
Yeah,
so is Decatur General.
yeah, that's fair.
Could also bring Huntsville down on us.
Yeah, that's true. It could. So, bombing the hospital is a bad idea. That is a great way to get hunters involved.
Not disagreeing that it'd be fun to watch it burn at Shidio, but yeah.
Oh, we could find other stuff to burn. That would be fantastic. But
And we do have some plastic explosives lying around. Might as well do something with them, right?
yes, I do. I need to
Yes,
find
we
some
do.
time for that. Oh, you found some too.
Yeah, what do you think I was doing in the house?
That's more than I thought.
They were stacked up like Tony Montana.
How much did you get?
That's his bag.
Why are you carrying it with you?
It was in my defense, it was in the office. I just left it in there.
What?
Find a place to hide it tonight.
I have a spot. It's the same spot where my other thing that goes boom is.
That's a bad place to put one thing that goes boom with another thing that goes boom.
We're just gonna have. Yeah, but no one's gonna go in there.
Anyways, she checks her phone. I'm sure Clint probably has people watching for the limousine or whatever that would have come across. Has he texted or
Probably.
called anything? Or Woodard?
Let's see.
This would have been about
Clint
20
has not.
minutes.
I mean, the person you talked to just said, as long as you'd be courteous enough to pass along any information you get, they were fine to let you deal with it on your own. It's your domain.
Yeah. And the meeting tomorrow would go over it.
Want me to contact Clint? Start getting things organized.
Gonna try and have a meeting with the other barons tomorrow since we haven't had one of those in a while.
True.
Let them know what's going on and If nothing else, weigh our options. Because if we decline, you can bet they're going to be on our ass.
Oh, they will. Even if we accept, they're going to be on our ass.
And a whole new group will be on our ass.
So we will effectively become tools to the cam to be wielded as blunt instruments against the anarchs. We will have no allies. They will just say we do.
It's just what they were going to do, and what they were saying in the meeting, that we weren't that, trying to make us feel special.
They're good at that.
No, they're not. I've heard better from the spot.
You haven't met the real good ones then.
Either way, let's figure out what we're going to do quicker rather than taking our time on it. We don't want to give them too long to get organized or too long to get offended by the fact that we aren't answering their oh so generous offer.
Find it interesting that they decided it was time to reach out when we sniff out their plot and then strike back and root out one of their infiltrators from his own haven in their territory. That might have scared them more than anything else, being able to find one of their havens. That means we could potentially find others too.
Well, and doing it within the evening, so
Only took
either
me
way.
about an hour or two.
Well, I doubt a Thin Blood's haven is as well protected as a Primogen's or even a older kindred.
I'll give you that. It'll be harder to find an Nosferatu's haven than it would for others.
Either way, figure out what we're gonna do at this meeting.
Well, we need to come clean with the barons when it comes to that.
Come clean how? Like
Inform
this just happened.
them. Well, yes, I'm saying inform them of the deal that was offered to us in its entirety.
Yes, that was of course what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
We're just gonna sit there and have cookies and milk.
Whittle our thumbs for like 5 minutes.
Also need to probably inform them of potential informants that are being disseminated throughout their own domains like they were through ours.
Yes.
And yes, before you say anything, I will be at the meeting.
Thank you.
You already promised, so.
I did.
It's probably a more pleasant meeting than the one with the Nosferatu Primogen will be.
Now you have to promise not to leave dramatically.
Can't promise that.
Little
Making baby
promise.
steps.
The promise was to be there.
Yeah.
To stay for the duration of the meeting, unless something happens that requires you to leave.
There
Not
better be
just,
lupine out there.
Not just a rumor of something happening that the security can't take care of.
You're paying for Shiloh's chicken nuggets.
I bought him a 12-pack. I'll buy him a bucket next time.
You're buying him more, and I'll agree to it.
Looking at Shiloh, become a pawn in this. I'm so sorry. You would deserve better.
He just looks up because people are paying attention to him.
Just hears chicken nuggets a couple times. Like, yes, I'm very interested in this.
Oh,
I'll
they
take-
said chicken nuggets and looked at me. What's going on here?
I'll say Kyle looks down and with Pharaoh whispers to Shiloh, "She has agreed to buy you chicken nuggets because I have to go to a meeting."
His tail just starts wagging. He has no idea what a meeting is, but you should go to more of them.
I've arranged the meeting for tomorrow night. Has anyone answered back that they will be there, or
You get an
Really
answer
funny if you
back
just sent
from
Outlook
Clint,
invites.
or not Clint, but one of Clint's people, Shelly, I believe. Fairly quickly. They can be there. There's a brief go around about several people answer back in. There's a brief go around about where to host it. The pack is offering to host.
the location where we met up with the Banu Hakim and Harmony?
No, that's the Warden of the North. The pack are a group of gangrel that live in the most southwestern part of Decatur. The part that's really not built up city-wise. It's just the city's basically took that.
Farthest from the boat line.
Yeah, furthest. It's actually the furthest from Cam territory.
Good idea.
But the closest
Definitely.
whatever hell creature lives in the city to the south.
Hartford's
you
more
went
straight
through, so-
south. This is more over here. There's some distance.
Still.
I'm not going to go play with the hell creature, so.
Not
What
yet.
if we stick the hell creature on the cam?
They have to
Put a
get to
pin in
Decatur
that.
first.
We can tell the hell creature to go around this area. Leave like a bread trail.
Cross
or a
the.
breadcrumb trail.
You got to cross the bridge over here, but you have to go the long way around.
Leave a bread trail of Cam for it to follow until it gets to Cam
Yeah,
territory.
yeah,
It's like
we're just
snack time.
Yeah, we're just gonna bread trail the unspeakable hell spawn. As one does. Yeah. Agree to the meeting and whatever time it is, and just make sure to have Kincaid aware of the time and to definitely make sure that patrols are out and about during that time and to contact us if need should be.
Speaking of, Kyle will shoot a text to. I keep wanting to call him Wallace, but I know that's not it.
Who?
The Malk Baron.
Oh, that's Cologne.
Sebastian.
Cologne. Yeah, Sebastian Cologne. I keep wanting to call him Wallace. I know that's like the.
He is
psych
the
ward.
Baron of Wallace.
Yeah, because I know that was like the psych ward that he was at. That's the name of it. That's what I keep wanting to call him. He'll send a text to Sebastian or whoever answers for Sebastian. I can English for
Marbles.
Sebastian. Yeah, marbles. He'll say, "So how's your unruly friend to the south?"
Oh, they're still unruly, and they're still in the south. That's unfortunately, basically all we know at the moment. We haven't gotten any other. We haven't been able to send anybody else down to investigate more closely.
Translation: we haven't captured anyone else to put in a car and shovel off.
That's a shame. Well, I was just curious because he had a. Did he try to eat gasoline last time? That's unhealthy.
There was an accident, yes.
Well, sending my best. Wish him well for me.
Certainly.
Da-na-na-na. Da-da-da.
Have there been any more lupine rumors going around about large dogs or were coyotes or I don't know?
I've been trying to keep an eye out for Sammy. I've been picking up his scent occasionally around the area, so he's still active here. I just haven't been able to find him.
Yeah, he is.
Lance is over at Kincaid. Anything on your end?
A couple of other people claim to have spotted a really big dog or a wolf or something.
Something like some sort of coyote, some sort of large coyote.
Depends. Coyotes don't get too terribly large usually.
A were
Unusually large
coyote.
coyote.
Yeah, these guys were talking about a pretty big size something, but by the same token, we've been spooked lately about lupine, so people could be exaggerating its size.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And we haven't had any lupine attacks. Those are pretty obvious.
Right. Couldn't hurt to keep an eye out though.
Oh, I've told my people to keep an eye out.
Good. Keep up on that then. Last thing we need is for a lupine incursion in the middle of all this nonsense.
Yeah. Hopefully the Sherwood Oaks folks would spot that before it got to us.
Well, you can hope with one hand, take a shit in the other, see which one fills up faster.
Fair point. Ooh, maybe we should invest in some silver.
Couldn't hurt. Does it actually work against wares?
Does in the
If-
movies.
If mythology is to be believed.
mythology is to be believed, then we should all be terrified of garlic and crosses.
Some are.
Some of them are.
But not
Running
all of
running
us.
water, not being invited. Yeah, some are.
Hmm.
You should meet the Shemisi.
Pass.
The who?
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Think of the old Bram Stoker stuff.
Ah, Hellspawn. Got it.
Kincaid's Kincaid's not there. He was, I think, talking over the phone.
Couldn't hurt to keep some silver on hand just in case.
Better to have what you don't need than need what you don't have.
Precisely.
Viola, could I go about getting that gun back if you have it on you?
What gun?
Not you, the one she gave to Iola.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take
Here
some
you go.
time.
Thank you.
We're gonna find out
You do have-
Iola's just like a crack shot with it.
You have some kind of firearm as well. I'm not depriving you of your only weapon or anything, right?
No, I actually don't have a gun. But it's fine.
Oh, we
Really
got somebody in the chat.
get a weapon.
Hello, chat.
Yeah, you should. Hello, chatter.
Well, I'll get with Kincaid to find you something. He probably knows people.
Do you need one? Are you more comfortable with your hands?
No.
I mean, I am, but
I just don't want to give Iola a gun if Iola doesn't want a gun, is all I'm saying.
That's fair enough, yeah. Silver knuckles or something, maybe, for punching werewolves.
I still have that steak.
I have like 3 more.
Either way, we'll have the meeting tomorrow. Don't think we have anything super pressing until then.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you owe Shiloh some nuggets, but other than that.
Wendy's is closed right now.
What time is it?
The meeting was at 12:30.
It's also during COVID time, so it's probably closed.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Fair point.
So by the time y'all are sitting around talking like this, it's probably gonna be 2:30.
Yeah.
Only
by the time we
only
finish
3
up.
more weeks to go, guys.
That's very optimistic.
They were
We'll be
optimistic.
done with
times.
this by the time. We'll be done with this by summer.
They just didn't say which summer.
No.
Fair.
Yeah. So they get you.
All right. So is there anything else y'all are planning to do tonight?
No.
Kyle did his patrolling. He fed because he needed to after he healed.
I think that's it.
He'd see about finding some silver. See if he can reach out to some contacts, see if he can find some silver.
On eBay looking for real silverware to melt down.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly, silver is a fairly easy metal to find compared to like incendiary bullets.
Go to a pawn shop.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Let's say, but it's considering the time of night. He's gonna see if he can do it
Mm-hmm.
tonight, just so he can get that ball rolling.
Who do you know that can get? Who do you know that's good at acquiring things?
I
Who
wonder.
indeed?
I mean, Egidio likes robbing people, but that's
I don't like
he-
robbing people. I'm just good at it.
you literally have a compulsion to do it.
I don't like doing it. I'm good at it.
Cursed with sticky fingers.
But no, he would tonight he'd probably just like browse eBay for a bit. See if he
Okay.
can find something.
I'm willing to bet you could find silverware or something silver on eBay at pretty much any given day.
Mhm.
Silver. Oh, a can of limited edition Coke from 1984. $700.
Well then.
Actually, considering the time, here's a pack of toilet paper for like $200.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace just full of toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And
there-
gloves too.
I'm looking now.
Masks.
There are bars of silver for sale on eBay.
Seriously?
Yeah, you could buy ingots.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. He'll look for that.
So yeah,
A lot of
it's not you're not
amateur
gonna be
jewelry makers.
you're not gonna be able to get it like the next day or something. But yeah,
No. Yeah. He just wants to get the ball rolling.
and you get anybody that knows how to cast bullets. Silver is not a hard metal to work with any worse than lead, really.
Mhm.
It doesn't make for good bullets, but
But against werewolves, potentially could make all the difference. And he's willing to roll that dice.
it's only money.
Yep.
I don't think Ichirio's worried about Lupine so much. A, because he's not really a frontline combatant, but also, he's more worried about the more immediate threats around him. And so he still has his little security camera scrambler.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all he needs right now.
Okay.
So he's just gonna go. He's gonna what he'll do is he'll take it out and double and triple check it. This is just flavor of him. Like I did this right? He'll slip it back on.
It's like he's nervous about whether it'll work or not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if none of you have anything else to do in the evening, you eventually retreat to your havens.
Mhm.
Give me that rouse check for waking up the next night.
Ooh, I'm good for once. I'm still gonna hunt though.
I get hungrier. So I'm hungry too, no?
Iola and Walter get hungrier.
I'm good. That guy was very filling. Or lady was very filling.
I'll take my
Mhm.
one bag for the day, and that'll be that.
Okay.
Don't have any space don't have any fridge bags anymore because, well, yeah. But just I'm back down, feeling good. She is a little bit on edge of that bomb the hospital thing is definitely like something said in hunger in hanger.
At yourself when you're hungry. Have a Snickers.
For the NSA listening in on this, I was talking about in game.
All things
Dude.
said or said in jest and in character.
There's enough actual plays. They this won't even raise an eyebrow anymore.
Yeah. Just gotta
no.
throw it out there every now and then.
Yeah. Every now and again, you used to be like, I do not have any knowledge of any plastic explosives. Do not know how to use them. Wouldn't want to.
Long ago were the days where the FBI raided Steve Jackson Games because they were making a GURPS book on hacking.
The good old days.
Mm-hmm. All right, so y'all are up.
Cheetah gets his one bag and heads to the office, and then he's just at the office like this when someone walks in.
You have gotten messages. Everybody's confirmed that they can be there.
Did we settle what time it was?
That would have been settled. Yes.
Yeah.
We have not said what time it was, but
Probably like first-ish thing.
relatively early in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get it knocked out.
Everyone make sure you're freshened up and then head that way.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. As somebody who sends like Outlook and calendar invites now as my IRL job, I just imagine like all of the barons on the thing like Baron Wallace or the Baron of Wallace has accepted this invite.
I have a baronry slack.
Yeah.
That does remind me something Kyle would have done night previous, as he would have gotten with my brain just slipped on his name. Not Miles.
King
The
King
one
King.
that, yeah.
To see about repairs to the truck.
You know,
Make it look like I didn't run over a guy.
he'd meant to call the day before about, or the night before about that, but stuff was kind of busy and happening. So, but yeah, he'll put some work in on it.
Okay.
He'll have you an estimate by the end of the day. But yeah, no, and the pack, you got the time set up, the pack sent out the address to me at.
And away we go.
And away we go.
So yeah,
Emma
y'all,
would give rides to anyone that needed rides.
everyone needs rides.
I'm just
Kyle.
gonna have to get a minivan.
Kyle will make his way there with Shiloh.
Make it away.
In what?
Get our way down south.
He's going on a run, since he doesn't have to sweat.
Okay, well, you need to leave
Fair
early
enough.
Hmm?
then. I said you need to leave early then.
Yeah, he will.
He didn't have to hunt.
Yeah,
But
he'll just text say, "Hey, I'm heading to the meeting a little early. Want to make sure things are set up. Meet you there."
Don't forget the hors d'oeuvres.
Actually, yeah, he will add in Emma. Don't forget the nuggets.
It's a very straight face emoji.
I
He takes-
picture a
he
scene.
he just takes a picture of Shiloh, just looking all like puppy eyes.
I imagine a scene where Kyle's just walking, or jogging that way. He passes by on a car.
all right. But eventually, you all get to the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of curiosity, can y'all hear the fireworks going off around my house?
No.
No.
Can you hear the ones
Nope.
going off around mine?
I have not.
Can
So
you hear the ones going around mine?
I have some here too.
all right.
Happy
I-
4th.
Well, I'm not hearing any of y'all, so maybe y'all aren't picking up mine either.
We
Nope.
aren't.
Excellent.
Gone are the days of hearing weird stuff in the background. Unless it's dogs that react to it, but that's it.
Hi, Colby Jack.
The cheddar of cheese.
But yeah, when y'all get there, it's a pretty large house, way back off the road.
Mm-hmm.
Long driveway. There's pasture area around it. At kind of the very edge of the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
You get there.
Here it comes to the
There's
city.
some of the pack out front acting as security.
Mm-hmm.
You're ushered into the house, down into the basement, which is set up like a meeting. The upper part of the house is made up like a lived-in home.
Mm-hmm.
And for all you know, somebody could be living here. Down into the basement, there's a large meeting table set up. Projector on the wall.
Oh, shit, who is going to prepare the PowerPoint for this?
Chidio put the thumb drive I'm already ready.
When you get there, Maddox and August are already there. Clint and a couple of his people are there. Josephine is there. You see Sebastian, Sebastian is sitting over in the corner. You know, one of his people is there with him, and he's sitting over the corner, just looking kind of disinterested.
Mm-hmm.
Like just not as animated as the last time you met him.
It's a low point.
Mm-hmm.
But August and
Maddox?
no,
Clint?
Valerie Vega, or we're playing pool at a pool table that's over in the other side of the room.
Mm.
It's like this basement is probably used as a recreational room, and then they cleared out some space to set up the kind of the meeting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As one does. Luckily, they can easily move around a pool table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Emma checking her watch. She's like, everyone else is here already. Like, okay, we're not late, but okay.
Maddox looks at you as you're walking in. On time is 15 minutes early.
Still want to see
Had
in the
a-
military.
Or retail.
Or in retail with the manager who used to be in the military.
Regardless. Hi, everybody.
Baron Hawthorne.
Hmm.
And shortly after shortly after you get there, Kyle and Shiloh show up.
Hmm.
August is like, finally, everyone is here. Really, you bring a dog to the meeting?
Yes.
Heading straight to the point.
And he starts to complain some more, and
What was that? Was this August or Maddox?
This was Maddox. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah, because you said August. I'm like, I thought August was more chill than that.
No, this is Maddox. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But as he starts to complain some more, Lillian, one of the heads of the pack, basically tells him, "Our place, our rules. The dogs are fine."
Heading straight to the point of the meeting. The Camarilla are under the assumption that they think we're going to join them, which we are not, just to be completely clear. But they sent down and
There's some eyebrows raising, and August is like, "Please continue."
reached out through an emissary. Stafford did. Nos Primogen, which I'm sure everyone here knows.
Bunch of nodding of heads.
Reached out trying to extend an olive branch for us to join them. Apparently, the other Primogen spoke and decided that it would be a delightful idea for us to join them, add us to their ranks. Granted, I'm sure as we turned our backs on them, I'd get a knife between the shoulder blades.
That's how they work.
Yes, indeed.
Also, the explosions 2 nights, however many nights previous it was, are also, of course, from the Camarilla. The 2 Thin Bloods involved in it were taken care of quickly, and the Camarilla that crossed the belt line were taken care of as quickly as well. Not permanently, unfortunately, but they were sent back to lick their wounds.
Everybody takes a moment to take this in. Maddox speaks first, as is often the case. What would the Cam want with you?
From what he says, which I trust about as much as I don't trust at all, let's be frank, he expected our baronry to be an easy to bowl over blunt instrument. And it has not been, which says either they are incompetent or we're better than we think we are.
Or they fear us.
A little bit of both.
They get
Or
like 33%.
Or they're in worse shape than we think.
We have been waging that shadow war, tightening on their resources.
Apparently, the Malkavian that runs the hospital still is holding a grudge about the ghoul that was killed earlier.
Which brings us to point 2. They are apparently hiring out-of-town help.
Well, that's not too shocking.
Yes.
We know Deschler up in Huntsville is obviously interested in what's happening next door.
Yes, however, the 2 Duskborn that were sent to infiltrate our domain were from Birmingham. And were hired as agents specifically because of their explosives expertise.
They must have been fleeing, August speaking, they must have been fleeing Birmingham, because that's Cam territory and not friendly to the Dustborn.
No, but
Yes, but the fact that they're hiring help that comes straight into the city to use as instruments.
They're hiring Duskborn as opposed to ordering them. Also, is curious. They said they'd promised to make them full vampires, which, whatever that means.
Cologne perks up just a little bit. There's a rumor amongst the Duskborn that diablerizing a full kindred will make them such.
I'm sure they would be offering up one of us versus one of their own.
Yes,
More than
yes.
likely. So, that's point number 2 that I wanted to make you all aware of is they're not sure if they're daywalkers or not. The one I handled was not. But keep an eye out for any others that might have particularly similar expertise. We found a concerning amount of explosive ordnance.
Okay, Ken, I'll get the right name eventually.
Want to know that?
Maddox like, yes, and you set that ordinance off. Was my understanding.
Actually, no, we did
Got
not.
quite a bit of it still.
They did. We did not.
They planted.
He makes a gesture like, they did it. Oh, yeah, whatever.
They planted explosives at the Dead Men's and the mall with the intention of setting the police on it to just further cause us trouble. Luckily, we have taken those supplies, and, well, now we have some interesting supplies.
And Matic, respectfully, that bomb went off in my face when I was chasing the saboteur. Don't dismiss that again.
Or
He's gonna leave the meeting again. Oh, great.
August tries to, hey, let's stay focused.
This is what they want us to do.
Another purpose of this meeting is you've all been at this political game longer than most of us. A bit of advice would go a long way. As I said, we have no intention of switching sides, but the longer we wait, the more time it gives them to plan.
Clint speaks up. Invite them in for another meeting to discuss what's going on. Kill them.
We do have plenty of explosives.
And August kind of shakes his head. In all likelihood, if you called them back expressing interest and wishing to discuss more, you would have to. They would likely call you into their territory since they came to yours the previous time.
Yeah. That
Also,
means...
if we and he's looking dead at Clint. Also, if we start agreeing to diplomatic, meetings and then blowing them up, things only heat up more. We need to keep some avenues of communication open, even during wartime.
I do have some feelers out in their territory to see what I might be able to glean.
We've managed to send back the missing token
Oh,
back
okay, yeah,
back across the way.
the hand, yeah.
You have a few quizzical glances. Matic, what hand?
The hand of the Duskborn that set off the bomb, where we returned it to the Primogen that is sent the Duskborn over.
Matic kind of smiles and gives you a nod.
And the
Okay.
other one, I stalked across the boundary line, found his haven, assailed him in his home, incapacitated him, and then left him out in the sun. So both saboteurs have been dealt with. However,
August
the
is like,
latter,
was it a church parking lot you left him in?
yeah, that was the
Are
quickest
we
one
gonna
I could.
keep?
That was the quickest one I could get to because the sun was rising at the time.
Oh,
Are we gonna keep harping about the church?
August. Oh, I have no love for the Mother Church. I had some of my people had merely noticed the news article
Scorch
about
mark.
it and how quickly the story changed from human remains to Well, it screamed cover up. I had been curious as to what had happened.
Yes, that particular one had decided setting explosives in my bar would be a good idea. I took exception to it.
As one should.
And I took that personally.
Which, interestingly enough, considering that strike was deep into their territory, we had a meeting the immediate night after.
I'm sure
So
the
they're
timing is just a
definitely
coincidence.
they're definitely afraid of us. They want to try to. If they can't beat us, they want us to join them. I've got
August
no
is
love
like,
for them.
don't let the idea that they're afraid of you go to your head.
No, of course not.
You're an enemy and you're proving to be competent. So they're, properly leery of you.
As they should be.
And wanting an easy way to remove a piece from the board.
Yes, and
Yeah,
if they can if they can capture that piece and bring it over to their side, so much the better.
Well,
And then
like I
use
said,
it as a sacrificial pawn.
as soon as our backs are turned, there's a knife between the shoulders.
Yep.
Not happening.
Perhaps. Strategically speaking, bringing you on board with them helps, because they would then have a block of territory around the Parkway Hospital.
It's just all of this ordnance weighing down my secret vault of it. I just need to put it somewhere.
Don't get too trigger happy.
Matic
I'm
and
not getting trigger happy.
Matic and August look at each other and then look back at you, and almost in unison, do not blow anything up.
I'm not blowing anything up.
The
Emma just kind of
explosion that happened in your
grins.
domain already has the police crawling all over that side of town.
Yeah.
Clint kind of nods his head. Even out our way, we've seen more police patrols.
Just
Possible
so much easier when I lived in the sticks.
the economic and warfare we're going against them with is being more effective than we think.
Well, we can hope so. August speaking. We're certainly putting effort into closing the river trade from helping them.
Yeah, all of the things are really effective. I'm upset that it's effective. I'm not gonna lie.
I did notice in that last altercation there was a lack of incendiary ammunition. So perhaps that
You need-
stranglehold is working well.
Need any more assistance with the river, please let us know. We'd be happy to lend some of our forces as need be.
Bunch of nodded heads there.
It doesn't bring us any closer to an answer of what to do with them. If we have them in a position of weakness or if they're just bluffing that weakness.
Could be both. I knew a guy back in my mortal years who used his weakness as a strength, and he was surprisingly good at it. Took down people much stronger.
Well, what are our immediate options then? I'm sure there's no cordial way to tell them to go fuck themselves.
Valerie Valerie speaks up. No, you just very directly tell them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we can still do that.
Respectfully, go fuck yourself.
With
Thing
all
I'm
due
surprised about-
respect, Mr. Stafford.
The thing I'm surprised about is that
I'll
they
pop
even
over
make the offer
yonder.
at all with any kind of knowledge of who I am and what I do.
They seemed very knowledgeable about all of us. Well, most of us.
Hey, when you say all of us, August and Matic
Baron
both look sharply at you, and then you go, most of us. They relax a little bit.
of the Baronry group. They made a point, or Stafford made a point of bringing up that knowledge.
And they Google searched and found the birth certificate in Ciudad de Mexico for me.
Either way. Either it's a ploy to separate us from you or us from each other, or it's them legitimately looking to add a different piece to the board, one that can be used as a weapon that has proven to be surprisingly effective.
August kind of nods. Well, they always try these divide and conquer tactics with us. And if they got you to your side and you were legitimately useful to them, well, then they have a tool. And if you weren't, well, they'd cut you off from any allies, so you would be easier to eliminate if they decided that was necessary. As far as what to do about it, though, and Maddox picks up, we should launch an attack. A probing attack. See if this weakness is if they're bluffing us, we don't commit too much. But then if they're actually weak, perhaps we can deal them some sort of blow.
Is this where we send troops? Are we going?
I have scouts right now. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
What are they scouting?
Well, our dear Primogen friend decided to show up in our territory in a limousine, of all things. It's not exactly that hard to follow.
At the same time, Maddox says Stafford's an ass, and August says Stafford's an egotist.
Both
Probably
are true.
both.
It usually is.
Cologne
Either
kind of
way.
speaks up. He came from nothing. In his mortal life, he was he was born into extreme poverty. He had made something of himself before his embrace, and was only embraced by the Nosferatu instead of the Ventru because the kindred in question were having a spat.
Where would you suggest we launch a probing attack? Along the belt line, further in maybe, just to show that we can get in deep. Put an attack down and leave.
I had a thought, actually.
Everybody turns to look at the GD.
Emma inwardly, that's dangerous.
If the attack
Kyle outwardly, that's dangerous.
If the attack comes from our domain, and if we want to give the illusion that we're still thinking about it, that might be a bad idea. If we don't want to have time to mull it over, fine. But if we want to have this little moment of clemency, I don't know. maybe the attack the probing attack is from the not our domain this one time.
Stafford did make a point several times of saying it was not him that arranged the attack.
So
Hmm.
we could say in kind, I didn't arrange the attack.
They would be expecting us to strike back, given that is kind of our modus operandus.
So if we don't strike back, but what if you guys strike back? Just
I'm not
with
saying,
I made it fairly clear how I operate, so
we'd of course lend support to it, but
sure,
not
but
directly from our location.
not right. That's what I'm getting at.
Lillian's partner Saul, the other leader of the pack. Kyle, you said you had sent some scouts out. What exactly were they scouting?
they were tasked with following the limousine at a distance and then to get a general overview of where those limousines stopped and then report back to me.
There's a lot of glancing around the table at each other. Maddox speaks up. If we just want to an attack to rattle them and to test their security, attacking wherever he leaves his vehicle might be. I doubt it would just drive straight back to his haven.
I doubt it too.
But that would still show that we were capable of pursuing him into his domain.
We are spoiled with C4 right now.
Explosions would probably be a problem, so close together, but
Not our domain, not our problem.
Yeah.
Matt kind of nods, and August's like, and it would depend on, well, exactly what building. If it's a house and we got into the house, it just caused the house to collapse in on itself.
Sinkholes are a horrible thing.
I have some
Well,
people
it's
that know.
terrible in
I
this
have some
area.
people that know a little bit about demolition.
Soil's real bad on this side of the country.
That might be exactly what we need to do. His territory is a little further in, so it wouldn't be obvious. It wouldn't be an attack would not be obviously coming from your domain.
And it'd be a fool to think other people hadn't noticed him coming across the belt line.
The only other
especially in something that
consideration,
audacious.
the only other consideration we'd have to make is there are always eyes up on the hospital.
there is.
Don't go by the hospital.
Which I think is partly why they're starting to get slightly rattled. Because the target I hit was close to the hospital, and they didn't know I was there.
And of course, if you lift your domain and swing back through pack territory and around, assuming that you were any of you were directly involved in whatever assault we carry out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
At the very least, we could absolutely arm said assault. I mean, it would be rude for us not to return packages, inventory that they left so unwillingly within our own area.
Oh yes,
would
August is
be.
like, and we would not want to be rude to our neighbors.
Of course
Correct.
not.
Of course not.
So please, Kyle, keep us informed on what your agents find.
Will do.
We'll of course need to see what this place is before we make any concrete plans.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're all in accord that this assault that an assault like this would be useful.
The sooner the better, probably. How long do you think it'll take for your scouts to report back?
Could be tonight. Could be another night or two.
Quicker we can get over there, the better. Like they said, they're not going to wait forever for our answer before they come knocking.
No, they're not.
I was like, more than likely we have a couple of days before they get too antsy, though.
Right.
Because they will realize this is a very big ask they're making.
Mm-hmm.
Much longer than that, though, and they'll likely start pestering you.
It'd be a shame if somebody else kicked down one of their side doors.
It would have been an awful shame. Awful shame.
See,
What would this city be coming to? Just not safe.
Kyle Lilly, he just looks at August like, see, August, this is why I like you. We get along.
Matt kind of rolled his eyes.
I'm sure we'll be in touch as soon as we hear back from the scouts to further plan this out.
And the rest, and the other barons have news. There have been other conflicts here and there. Nothing too major. No massive explosions.
Mm-hmm.
They go over some of the shipments they've stopped. Where they've been trying to sneak stuff in, and they've been stopped a few times. And sometimes they try to sneak something in, and in the kerfluffle, some of the packages get through. You don't have a perfect wall.
Yeah, but it's definitely sieving some stuff.
Yes. But overall, you are definitely that plan is definitely making it harder for the cam to get kind of more exotic materials in. Everybody's also reporting complaints in their domains of difficulty hunting.
Yeah.
That's an increase. There's some talk about how taking the hospital would be extremely useful, but that's also a long-term goal and would take some, in-depth planning.
Yeah. Which is what we've been doing.
And they need to be weakening more of the surrounding territory before they really tried anything. But it's clearly an ideal. It's clearly a thought they've had before.
Yeah.
The other hospital is kind of firmly surrounded by cam territory. Where this one's kind of on the border. So.
Could the blood bank support any more possibly feedings? If we could somehow shift its control to somehow shift its control to vampires versus kind.
Yeah. If you could get a more firm control, like right now, GDO's got his foot in the door because he's a donor.
Start a GoFundMe to get more money in there.
Do that. There's lots of ways you could increase your influence.
Mm-hmm.
Just even putting a kindred in control of it, flat out.
Yeah, that would do something.
It's something to look at.
And if y'all mentioned that the other barons, they're very, they'd be very interested if you could make that blood bank, a bit more of
a diner.
A bit more of a kindred utility.
The second Deadman drink.
I've been doing a... Wait, I've heard of an organization that does stuff like that. They're a little more... What's the word? Fucked up about it?
That's 3 words, but continue.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I forget about it. I heard about it when I was coming to America, but I have to do some more research into it. But they were like a group of people who have kind at their beck and call to say. Just in case you needed blood, if you wanted to be more kindred friendly. I think the cover story we have right now of using it for just taking contaminated blood from that someone just happened to test positive for COVID. Oh no! I think that's a pretty good cover right now.
An avenue to explore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So the
before we do leave, have any of you had any reported sightings of very, very large dogs or wolves in your domains?
everybody kind of shake their head. Clint kind of perks up. Has something been spotted in your domain? And are you sure it's not the coyote thing?
Our head of security has brought to our attention recently that there have been some reports of a very large dog or wolf of some description that's been prowling the outskirts.
Some of the bears look around. Lillian mentions if it was lupine, there'd be probably more than one, and they wouldn't be skulking.
Something we're having them keep an eyeball on, but just wanted to make others aware of it and see if others had encountered similar.
Yeah, my thought process why I brought it up is it could be if it was a pack of some sort, they might be sending one to like each domain to kind of scout it.
Well, the other bears tell you they have seen nothing of that sort, but they will specifically tell their people to keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
I mean, they're already keeping an eye out for coyotes, so.
Yeah, I have been. I have opened up an avenue of getting some silver to us, if the mythos is true about them. They should be vulnerable to it.
A couple of the gangrel in the room. Actually, most everybody in the room kind of nods. Oh, yeah, silver is effective on lupine.
Oh, good. Okay.
Most of them are a little bit older than most of y'all. So.
Yeah. If you know anybody that's good at casting bullets, I've got some ingots that's coming our way.
And you have several of them. Oh yes. Some of them know how to do it.
Couldn't hurt to have
Saul, for instance, is like, oh yeah, I've got the equipment for that.
Couldn't hurt to have some on hand just in case. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Hey, that's what I said.
That is what you said.
August got some. Well, we live forever. Chances are we'll need it eventually.
Fair point.
Yeah.
And with that, the meeting starts to wrap up. Like I said, there's some other, miscellaneous kind of boring organizational stuff they go over, but you've covered the meat of it. And it's 9:45, so we need to be wrapping up.
Oh, dang it is.
So I've been looking at the time the whole time. I was like, just see how long it takes until he notices.
I was noticing around 9:30, but we were in the meeting, so I figured I had a few more minutes.
I was good to keep going till like 10:30 maybe.
No.
Some people gotta go to work tomorrow, so.
Yeah, I do.
5 a.m., man. 5 a.m.'s early. You know this.
Yes, I do know this because I'm up by 4.
I'll be out mowing yards if it's not still raining. Anyway, hope y'all had fun. I enjoyed this one. Going to get a little more into the politics, a little more into the active warfare that's going on.
Yep.
Since we're basically at the halfway point of the campaign. It's like, oh, yeah, probably need to get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
It's a war thing. We should probably get on that.
Yeah. I think we firmly established you in your own domain. Now we need to spread out to the rest of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To be fair, we kind of have been doing the war thing. It's more been a background.
Ramping up.
But anyway, anybody out there that's watching or listening or that came by, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can show up next time. If you're looking for more games here on Dire Bear, check the schedule below. There are other games running, mostly D&D, pretty much all D&D, I think.
I think it's all D&D except for us.
But
Crunchy.
We're the only weirdos.
And again, I was your storyteller, the Eating Jason, and with me was Duba playing Walter, Rappy playing Iola, Jeremy playing Egidio, Sarah playing Emma, and Eric playing Kyle. And we will see y'all next time.